Mike Bohn joined now once again by Shawne Merriman, former NFL great, MMA promoter for Lights Out Xtreme. And let's start there, Shawne. I think kind of some big news coming out around your next event on May 18th. I know historically the cards have aired on Fubo there, and you've had that relationship, but you're doing something a little bit different going forward. I'll kind of give you the floor to explain what's coming out and how people can watch this next event and moving beyond.
Yeah, it's really big news and probably a milestone for us. So, in a few weeks here, I'll be launching Lights Out Sports, which is my multi-sports streaming platform that now the fights, Lights Out Xtreme Fight, will be live on the app. So we'll still work with Fubo and BN Sports. We'll still be on Bally's, Amazon Freebie, different locations or whatever. But for the most part, Lights Out Xtreme Fighting will be live on Lights Out Sports, and we'll launch with other combat sports as well. We got Swerve Combat that's coming on, and Glory Kickboxing has a channel, and we're looking for more combat sports too. So that we're not the only ones, but it's going to be cool because not only is it a free ad-supported platform, but it's on all major platforms from your Roku, your Samsung, Vizios, you name it. We'll be there. So this is a really, really big deal for us.
Has this been something that's kind of been, I guess, cooking for a while now, or like, did it kind of come up out of the blue and you thought it was like a really good idea? What was the process in deciding to make a move like this?
Well, I've been working on this for a year or so, close to it. I started coming up with the idea about a year and a half ago, and just the streaming space where everything is going, and also, what some of these platforms and companies are deeming this valuable content and whatnot. For me, I feel that it was time for me to take this next step. And combat sports band is growing globally, and the opportunity to be seen all over the world was more important to me than anything like that. And there's very few things as far as platforms that you're going to be seen all over the world instantly. So unless you're dealing with 3 or 4 different streaming services, then you get the distribution worldwide and things like that. But we rolled out this process because there's a lot of niche sports also that people love outside of combat sports. They watch combat sports, but people love chess. They love darts. Like I said, we're launching with a lot of motorsports. A lot of motorsports is going to be on there as well. So this is a big deal, man. I'm pretty laid back about it. Even I should be jumping around and kind of excited and going crazy. But this is something I've had in the works, man, for a year. And so we're a few weeks away from launching on all major platforms.
Congratulations. That's a big step. And I guess what's the most challenging part of that? Because, maybe somewhere like Fubo that kind of has the infrastructure already built in place to kind of do this and start, finding something that's like reliable in terms of streaming and having, all the production, things like that. Was that more difficult than you thought, or did you kind of have the right people around you to get all that set up? What was it like going through that process?
Yeah, man, I brought in the biggest and the best from other big companies and other very successful streaming companies, because I had an idea to kind of create this locker room feel for sports, right? Whereas if you come there, I watch Pluto, I watch Amazon Freebie, I watch Hulu, I watch all these other platforms. But the problem is now with this streaming, and it's a good problem for them. There's so many channels, there's so much to watch, and movies and sitcoms, 20 seasons of like crime shows and everything else. I'm like, man, you know what? Let me create a locker room where people are going to come and just watch sports. I wanted to create that, and that was the idea I had a long time ago. We'll still have distribution on Fubo, and like I said, BN Sports, and Swerve Combat is come on too. We'll have distribution through them, and Bally's, Amazon. So we have plenty of distribution. But for me, I felt that the live should remain with Lights Out Sports.
Yeah, and that seems to be the biggest like asset to all streaming platforms going forward, right? Like we see Netflix getting into it now with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Like live sports are one of the main things that maintains its value going through this, and that's why you see these big bidding wars and stuff. So you feel like doing something like this is just kind of getting yourself into the curve of where everything is heading here.
No doubt about it. And it's crazy. So Saturday, I was a part of the TNA wrestling. On Saturday, they also have a channel on Lights Out Sports, and we kind of did a kickoff this past weekend. But if anybody that's kind of been following me, man, I've been around the wrestling business for like over 10 years and doing stuff with WWE, and so I worked at all the biggest networks when I retired, man. I was at NFL Network and Fox Sports, ESPN, ABC, NBC, you name it. I've been at all the biggest networks. I've built shows. I've done a lot for these other networks, like behind the scenes. So, I'm very well versed in this business, more so than most people. When WWE Network launched, they called me up to launch a network with me to host WrestleMania and everything else, and kind of help them build out that side. And so for me, it was time. It was just time to go out and branch out, and I have enough, not only enough knowledge about this space, but I have a real passion for it, man. Like there's a need and the opportunity for these niche sports to be very big globally, and I want to do just that by bringing everything that I'm doing to make these niche sports that wasn't really getting paid attention to global, and that's the whole goal of this thing.
Yeah, definitely. So I have to ask about the TNA appearance. As you said, you've kind of been around the pro wrestling world for a long time. To actually go in there, to get in the ring, to be like on, the camera as talent, so to speak. How did that experience go? What was it like for you the other night?
Look, when you talk about having a passion for something, there's nothing more I love than the wrestling business, man. I know I train. When I get here, I'm probably going to go get a couple rounds sparring at Top Rank today, and I'll be at Extreme get two in a couple days. So I'm still very active doing that. But when it comes to wrestling, it's in my blood, man. I've always loved it. And so when I go out and do these things and somebody say, "Oh, you're a natural," I'm like, man, I've been training behind the scenes and worked with these guys for a very long time. But then again, it's repetition of being out there. But there's very few things you can get that's going to replace that feeling of running out to 70. When I play football, right? Mm-hmm. Running out to 70,000 plus people, you can't replace that feeling. You just can't. That's why a lot of guys struggle when they get done. You can't replace that feeling. And so, when I hear the crowd reaction from what happened Saturday with TNA, nobody saw it coming. I mean, nobody saw it coming, and the crowd reaction showed it. And so it went viral. And it's about the fans, man. It's about giving the fans something that have an emotional attachment, man. I used to love getting big hits and big sacks against the Raiders, and the crowd booing and throwing shit on the field and going crazy and telling me I suck. And so when you get the emotional reaction from the fans, man, I always thought that was great. We damn sure got one on Saturday.
Yeah. Is this just kind of a one-off, or do you want to be more frequent doing this? Was it just kind of the brand synergy a little bit here with the app, or what is kind of the future hold as far as you in that world?
I don't put it past that. We'll be doing more together. I don't know what capacity, but they got a great team over there. TNA, they do it top notch as far as the up and coming. And by the way, I look at these like feeder systems, these feeder leagues. That's all we are. That's what Lights Out Xtreme Fighting is. We're a feeder to the big organization, which is the UFC. My goal in this whole thing, man, is to get as many up and coming fighters as we can, our champions, to the UFC. If I can do that, that is a massive success for us.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is the closest to getting that call next right now?
We got a kid, Lazaro Valdez. I think can have an opportunity. We got we got a big matchup. This our first flyweight title. We got Roy in this card, Echeverria and Pablo Caballera. Also, it's a co-main event. We got about 3 guys in this card coming up May 18th in Long Beach, who I think that they have a real shot. Maybe 1 or 2 might break through. But I talk to Dana here and there about it, and we would hope to have that opportunity for some of these guys to get up to that level and then have success. Not just getting there, but getting there and having ultra success. So that's for me. That's how I would envision success for us.
Yeah. Do you feel like in growing that success, that show in February you guys had when UFC was just down the street and stuff? I saw lots of fighters coming up, and I don't know who else may have come to mingle with you behind the scenes. But do you feel like that was a very productive event and week for the growth of the company?
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was our biggest at that point in time, man. And what's starting to happen with us, that we're starting to get this attention nationally, because there's a lot of good promotions out there, right? Mm-hmm. LFA has a fight on Friday before us, and it's like we're going to sell out. We're going to do well. So for me, I'm not worried about anybody coming to town or anybody's success level. LFA is a great organization. And so we're selling now. I mean, we're 70% sold out right now. The fight's a month away.
Yeah.
And so that it's turning. Everything we see it, not only in the ticket sales, but fighters now are reaching out. It wasn't like this a year and a half ago. It wasn't like this. A year and a half ago, fighters are reaching out all over the country and will even fly themselves out just to get on our card. Obviously, we take care of the fighters, but we have them big up-and-coming name guys from Miami, from Texas, that are saying, man, we'll come out there. We just want to get on the card because we see what you guys are doing. We want to be a part of it. So that just kind of shows you where we are, grown as an organization. And, we're getting a lot of notoriety, man, like all over the place. And that ultimately is where you want to be. You can't be in a better position unless, you are the UFC.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, you guys are doing a great job. This is obviously a good next step. I could talk to you about so much forever. So I want to, and a lot has happened in recent weeks. So I just want to ask this way. What event have you enjoyed the most in April? WrestleMania, UFC 300, or Haney Garcia?
Oh man, that's tough. I text Dana and I was like, that call was just unreal because he was saying that it was big. And I think it's, if you look at the history of the UFC in the 30 plus years, so what's big, right? Like, my first fight was in 2005, with Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell. I think it was 2000. Yeah. That was my first UFC. So what is big, right? So when Daniel says that it's going to be big, what does that entail? That bad motherfucker fight may be the greatest fight. I think, top 3 to top 5 greatest fights of all time in UFC history. In my opinion, the whole time they're just kicking the hell out of each other. How Max Holloway was just coming forward after those kicks, and then Justin getting hit, on the chin over and over again, and just keep coming forward. And then for that fight to finish the way it did, it rung bells, man, like all over the world. It was one of those things where I don't give a shit if you watch MMA or not. That fight was the crossing of the general public. So if you wasn't an MMA fan, you saw that like I'm watching MMA now because of fights like that. But also, again, The Rock, what he's doing with the final boss right now, and kind of the energy he's brought back to wrestling. And I'm not saying it's been gone, right? So I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not a casual wrestling enthusiast where like, wrestling's dead. Like, no, wrestling's not dead. It's different. It's different than what it was. But The Rock has brought back like this old energy of wrestling. And then final, man, Ryan Garcia got all our ass. And this is so crazy. Ryan, I've known Ryan for years. I've known Ryan since he was like, way a kid, right? And I used to go watch him train in the gym in LA and stop by. I'll go spar and work out, and I sit over and watch him train and speak with him and all that and sit down with him. Great dude. Great kid, regardless of what anybody think or of his, he's just a great kid. He even had me fooled. Like it was a few times I wanted to text him and say, "Dude, are you okay? Yeah. Right? What are you going through? Do you need something? Can I help or whatever?" But he not only did he show up, man, he put on a clinic, and absolutely no one seen that coming. Because of his antics leading up to the fight, what Ryan Garcia did needs to be studied, and I'm dead serious. It needs to be studied because people who knew him, like even myself, who know him from a very long time, I'm looking at it like, man, like, bro, you okay? What's going on? And he showed up and did something and caught everybody off guard. And this has nothing to do with his boxing skills. I'm just talking about his mental health leading up to the fight. Skill-wise, I always thought that he was probably better than Devin Haney anyway. But leading up to the fight, nobody knew what his mental state was. And he shocked everybody, man. And I'm really happy for that kid.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Because like you do feel like part of it was play out, but then he comes to the press conference and was like, I was drinking every night and like this is what I had to do to cope with my divorce and like some of the other difficult things I've been going through. So it does sound like he was going through some stuff, but maybe he played it up a lot more in front of the camera. But yeah, if he was drinking every day and then went out and performed like that, I mean, I'm sure as an athlete that had to compete many times, if you're putting your body through that in the lead up to any competition and to go out there and perform at a high level is a huge ask of yourself.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But then again, look, I don't know if he was drinking a glass of wine or he's drinking a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So I don't put a lot on it. But there's no doubt about it. He was going through something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it was so erratic. It was so out there that he had everybody lost on what was coming up. If the fight was even going to happen, that is how crazy everybody's feeling was towards that moment when people didn't know the fight was going to happen. And so for him to show up and put on the type of show that he did, I mean, that needs to be studied for real.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Before I let you go, what's the top NFL storyline you're kind of monitoring during the offseason here and going into the regular season?
I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on right now in the NFL. I think the biggest thing is Caleb Williams, right? Obviously, we know he's going to go number one, but the Bears got rid of Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
That is he going to pan out? Who's moving? Who's the next quarterback taken? I think that Jaden Daniels, from LSU is probably the next one. Now JJ McCarthy has jumped up in the mix. Out of Drake May, like it's crazy right now what happens. But more importantly, Chargers, man, like at that number 5 pick, is somebody going back? Are they going to go with Malik Neighbors, or are they going the wide receiver at LSU? Or are they going to have somebody give them 2 first rounders and a wide receiver? Right. So I think that, within this top 10, as far as the NFL goes, the draft, we haven't seen this much, unpredictability in a very long time, because people who wasn't even talked about in the top 10, top 20 are now being talked about taking in the top 3. We haven't seen that in a very long time. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. Are you doing draft coverage for any particular network or anything, or kind of sitting out this year?
Yeah, I think I'm doing some stuff really quick with Barstools.
Okay.
To be honest, man, we're so close to this Lights Out Sports launch that I've been working like 16-hour days, and then also doing with TNA. Obviously, a lot of rehearsing goes on with that, and a lot of behind the scenes. I'm still in the gym at 5:30 in the morning, 6 days a week. Yeah, I still go and try to kick some ass in the afternoon, and at Top Rank or Extreme Couture, wherever I'm at in the country, and so I got to take the back seat when it comes to anything else right now.
Yeah, man, you're so busy. Will this app and kind of the new path with this, is this going to change the volume of shows or anything on the operation side, or is it basically going to kind of stay the same with this launch as far as what your plans were for this year?
Well, the shows will be longer. We'll probably add a couple extra fights, right? Because we don't have to fit into a time schedule on the network, which is another reason, right? We want, if it was up to me, I'll have 20 fights plus a day,
right?
For doing fight night. There's so many fighters looking for opportunity, and believe it or not, man, you find those couple diamonds in the rough, but you can't do it if you're having 8 to 10 fights every 6 weeks. So we're looking currently to go every 4 weeks. After this next fight, we're at Commerce Casino. So this fight, May 18th, will be in Long Beach, California. You get your information at lightsoutxf.com. June 15th, Commerce Casino in LA. Will be back up north. So we'll try to have these fights now that we're on Lights Out Sports every 4 weeks or so.
Amazing. Awesome, man. Well, congratulations. This is obviously big news for you and the promotion, and just going to raise the bar for 2024, which you are already killing, man. So appreciate you taking the time, and we'll definitely be chatting again in the future.
Hey, man, get your cut. I want to say that. Get your cut for what you did from the guys, man. 20%. Go get your hand out. You're leaving a lot of money on the table, man. So I appreciate what you've done for the fighters, man. That's why I'm in this sport. I've been around it because I'm a former athlete and I care about the fighters. So to see what you did to do that was pretty damn awesome. And I still think you should go get your 20%. So we appreciate it.
Maybe you can hook me up with your agent and then we'll try to make it happen. Thanks, Shawne. Appreciate you. Okay, have a good day. Thanks.
You too.
Bye.